Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura of Laura Plans It, and today I'm doing a walkthrough and a review of the new reusable planner from Rocketbook and Panda Planner. Okay, so the team over at Rocketbook reached out to me asking if I would be interested in sharing about the Rocketbook Panda Planner. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't sure right off the bat if this was a planner that I would use, but I was really intrigued by the fact that it's reusable. And it's reusable for a number of different reasons, and I'll walk you through all of those. But the primary reason is because you can use it with these friction pens and easily use this cloth to wipe it out. So I've had this planner for about a week now, and I've walked through it. I've done a mock spread for their daily spread, and I'm going to share with you kind of how it works, what I like about it, what I'm not thrilled about, and whether or not I would recommend this for you based on a few different situations. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before I open this up, I did want to talk to you about how this arrived. Now, I was going to do an unboxing for this, but because it is such a unique planner, I thought I would need more time to learn about it and test it out before I could actually share it here. So this Rocketbook Planner, Panda Planner, it comes with the planner itself, which this is I believe this is the letter size. It is black. It's got this silver plastic coil. It came with one friction ball pen, which is a 0.7, so 0.7 millimeters. A little bit thicker than what I typically use, but for this particular planner, I prefer that. And then it also came with this microfiber rag, which you use to actually, instead of using the eraser on here, you use this, you dampen it, you wipe it down, you use the dry side to dry it off, and you're good to go again. So I love those kinds of features, and I really wanted to test them all out. That was what came with the original packaging. They did send me an extra packet of friction ball pens that were a variety of different colors, but I prefer using black pen and highlighters. I do have, and I brought them out, some of the friction highlighters as well to test in here, and I did test them out a little bit over the last week, and I'll walk you through that. But first, let's flip through this planner itself. So the first thing you see here is the destination spread. Now, destinations in Rocketbook are for when you actually digitize this planner, and I will talk about that a little bit later. But when you use the app, if you mark off these destinations, and they're very faint at the bottom, if you mark them off, the app lets you choose based on these icons what happens when you take a picture or scan in this spread. So I'll walk you through that process in a little bit, but here you've got a space where you can actually fill in exactly how you plan on using each one of those destinations. So for my usage and testing on this, I have it set up so that it will transcribe anything I write and send it to my email. And that's how I tested it. I was using the star in order to do that. And again, I will walk you through that entire process towards the end here. The first actual layout and spread you have here is annual planning. So again, this is undated and reusable. So what's great about this is you can pick whatever months you want to start. So right now it's August, so I can start this in August. I can start it in September if I don't really want to put this month in, since it is already halfway through the month. But I can start it whenever I want. It's got 12 months here, so you can go a full year out. And realistically, if you don't need to plan every single month in here, you could skip ahead and plan any which way you want. Again, the destinations are at the bottom. And I believe this little QR code, and this I didn't look up, but I think this helps the app remember and utilize whatever spread you're in, because it does seem to change from each spread. Now we have the monthly spread. This is a typical monthly spread. There's a space to write what your daily habit might be. There's an area here for tasks throughout the week or month, notes, and then again, the destinations. Those will always be at the bottom. So I'm gonna try not to mention them again because it's the exact same thing on every page. I like the way this looks. I think that this is a really easy way to track things that are going on. They've got an H here, so you can write in the check off if you've done your daily habit. So that's really good if you are, particularly if you're tracking habits. So if you're tracking something like I've been tracking this month, closing my movement ring on my Apple Watch, I can write, movement ring. I can write that it's August. I can fill in the dates, and then I can check this box off every time I meet that goal. There are 1, 2, three months that you can plan ahead, so a quarter of monthly spreads, which is really cool. My problem with undated spreads like this, and particularly with reusable ones, is for me, I have to have the current month be the first month. So I would end up clearing month 1, transcribing all of this here, clearing this, transcribing, and so on until I was organized, because for me it has to be very linear. If it's not, I get very, very overwhelmed and confused as to where my tasks are. For those who don't know, I do have ADHD, and so I've got very rigid systems in place that help me focus, function, and survive life. So for me, linear is key. But if you're either not linear or you've got the extra time to move things around, I think it's really neat that you can have 3 months at a time and erase it and go on to the next month really easily. Next, now this is kind of a goal spreading sheet, right? So there's anything and everything. So write down anything you want to accomplish in these categories: family and friends, personal development and achievement, wealth and finance, relationship, health and fitness. And then out of all of that, prioritize 1 through 5. What are your main priorities? Move those into goals, target metrics. How are you going to record and measure those goals particularly? So if your goal is to lose weight, which is their example here, which I don't care for that example. It seems to be like such an easy example. Give me something a little bit different. That said, if your goal is to lose weight, obviously you can say, I'd like to lose 5 pounds by June 1st, or I want to be 170 pounds, it says, by June 1st. So there's that. Then it's got milestones. So for each goal, so there's 3 goals, 3 target metrics. Take each one of those goals, A, B, and C, break those goals down into baby steps, and then find some habits that will help you achieve those goals. So this, to me, is a very, very high-level goal planning system. Now, for those of you who have been following for a while, you know that I use my power sheets for my goals, which I think is like 85 pages or some odd of pre-work to get to the goals that you want. I also have a Moxie Life planner, and that's got quite a few pages and questionnaires to fill out as well for goal setting, and it has weekly goal check-ins and things like that. So this is 2 pages, and then we've got kind of a roadmap and breakdown. So I guess you can say it's 6 pages when you really get into it, but I really feel like this is your goal planning, and then this is, or goal setting, and then this is planning it all out. So I think that there's a lot left for the actual goals. For me, I really need something like the power sheets, because I need something to walk me through and hold my hand and baby step it, because I can't think in such large, vast ideas. So goals for relationship, I don't know. But with my power sheets, they really, really broke it down. Even the Moxie Life, like I said, I do love the Moxie Life. I don't use it as my goal planner. I do use it as a task management planner. But even the Moxie Life has some really great questions that they ask you, and I have filled out that questionnaire to help focus me. This just gives you a category and you're kind of on your own. So I understand why, but for me, this would not function well. I would have had to use a different goal planner and then transcribe those goals into here and then break them down further. Next page is a roadmap for those goals, and it gives you basically 13 weeks, so basically a quarter of the year, to break down each goal, so goal A, B, or C, and C, week by week. So what are you going to do each week to hit these goals and hit these milestones that you're looking for? The obstacles page I do actually really like. So it wants to know your external obstacles, what's blocking you externally. So if you want to learn how to ride a bike, but it's the middle of winter, that would be an external, the snow would be, and the cold would be an external obstacle. Internal obstacles would be, what mentally and emotionally is stopping you from doing this. So I want to learn how to ride a bike, but I might make up excuses because I don't really care to exercise. That would be an internal obstacle. So create a plan to enact when you face these challenges. So if I make an excuse because I don't feel like riding my bike, then I will stop myself and say, hey, is this an excuse or is this a legitimate concern? And so that would be an if-then type of routine you can write in here. I like that idea. I think that's a really good way to stop particularly internal obstacles. Motivation. So why is this important to you? What are you going to benefit from with these goals? What kind of person do you need to be to accomplish these goals? And what are your rewards for hitting your goals? Rewarding yourself for goal hitting, I think, is really important because it gives you, aside from the fact that your life will get better by hitting your goals, it gives you some tangible something to look forward to work harder to. You know, I do a reward system with my kids. It works beautifully, so why not use one with me as an adult? If it works, you should do it. What is your life going to be like after you hit your goals? What's at stake if you don't hit your goals? And then this, I like this. Commit to your goals. Read this statement, and I recommend you read it out loud to commit to your goals, sign it, and date it. Then use your destination, take a picture to prove that you've signed this so that even if you erase it, you've got a record that you said you were going to do your goals, and do it. Okay, so now we are into the weekly spreads. So there's weekly spreads and there are daily spreads. This is a weekly one. Let's count these before we go any further. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weekly spreads. So you can get a month, basically, out of these weekly spreads. And it's broken down pretty nicely as well. So you can mark your progress on goals. You write down what week it is. Big wins from last week. Lessons you learned from last week. Things you're going to do to make this week great, projects and tasks, your weekly goals, and then just a quick morning, afternoon, and evening look out of the actual week. I don't like that the weekends are merged together. In a planner this size, I feel like you should be able to fit Saturday and Sunday in their own boxes. I don't know how they would have done that. Honestly, maybe stacking them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But that aside, I really do feel like this is more geared towards a business professional than it is a homeschooling mom. So particularly business professionals don't necessarily work on the weekends on average, so I can see why they've merged those together. If you are a professional that does work on the weekends, you can also go ahead and just redate these. I think that would be perfectly fine, and just make this, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. I like the general overview. I think there's a lot of space for projects and tasks, seeing as there's daily spreads in here as well. I don't think this much is quite as necessary. Again, I'm a homeschooling mom of 2, and though we have plenty of goals, don't get me wrong, this would not this would not really work well for me projects and tasks wise. It's just too large. I think that I would have preferred more space for the weekly overview. So again, there's 4 weeks for the weekly overview. Then we get into the daily routine, which I have made a mock-up page here to kind of see what it would look like filled out for us. This was last Wednesday. And so I filled this in to give you an idea, and this was me messing up and testing the pen there. Let's flip this way so you can just kind of see what it looks like without all my writing. You have your date, meditate, and check. So what do you do? I guess how long are you meditating for? Check it off. I don't recall seeing anything about meditation until you get to the daily routine. I don't meditate, so that's irrelevant for me. I mean, sometimes I listen to the Calm app to help me fall asleep, but that's about it. Morning routine, I'm grateful for and I'm excited about. So every morning you fill this in. Evening routine, you write down your daily wins. You write down an affirmation for the day, how you're going to improve, focus, exercise, your priorities, top 5. I think 5 is a really unique number. I typically see 3 as your top priorities, and then so for me, I would have preferred to see 3 and then made a task list a little bit larger, so 2, 3 more tasks per column. There's 2 columns here, so 5. 5-ish, 6-ish more tasks. Then there's a section for notes. There's an hourly schedule on the side. I think this is a really neat layout. Again, I think there's too many priorities. 5 is pretty high. I think 3 is the standard, and I think 3 is much more attainable than 5. I think anything else after your top 3 realistically should be delegated to tasks. So here's my breakdown, and as you can see, I only put in 3 priorities. I didn't fill in the evening routine from that particular day because I filled this out in advance, but I filled in, what am I grateful for? New morning routines with my kids, having my kids be more independent. I was really excited because I bought a new bike last week, and that'll be coming. I don't have a bike, and I really need one. My kids are both really getting into bikes and going a lot further than around the cul-de-sac, so I ordered a bike. I found a bike. That's just as difficult nowadays, if not worse. So I was excited about that. I wrote that in. I found an affirmation by Googling, so I don't really do a lot of positive. I'm generally a positive person anyways. So I don't have a collection of positive affirmations. So I found one and I wrote it in. And how I'll improve. So I'll set a timer for breaks so they're not so long. This is something that I get really sucked into things. And again, it's probably an ADHD thing, but I might sit down to read the news for 15 minutes during a break. And next thing I know, it's 2 hours later and I've been on Instagram or Pinterest for half that time. So setting a timer to kind of help keep me on track. I made priorities, so finalizing my fridge organization, editing and scheduling all of my YouTube videos for the week, cleaning and sanitizing indoor space for our therapy session, which is always a priority for us on Wednesdays because we do have an at-home therapist who comes in, so we do need to make sure it's sanitary for her and then again for us. Then I made a list of tasks. I didn't have any notes to fill in, so I left that blank. And then I filled in our schedule, which was pretty basic. I used the black pen that came with this and the friction highlighter in blue. If you choose to use these friction highlighters, you do need to give it time to dry before you can use a pen over it. And it's something where for me, I would recommend going through and kind of using your highlighter, fill it in that way, walk away for a few minutes and then come back and use your black pen because this is a very glossy paper. It's not shiny, but it is very smooth because it is water resistant. It's super smooth, so it takes a while for that marker to dry. So it's probably not meant to do this, but I prefer highlighters to using different color pens for things. You could easily use a pen, and I haven't used this one yet, so it might take a second, but there we go. You can easily use a pen to outline where you are needing things to be. But again, I prefer the mild liner. Or it's not a mild liner, I'm sorry. I prefer using a highlighter, this case, the friction one. I'm gonna come back to this page in just a little bit. As you can see, I did mark a destination as well, so I can take a picture of it. I'm gonna come back to this page so one, I can show you how to do the destinations, but two, so I can show you how to clean the page and use it all over again. So we get through the daily spreads here, and when we get to the end of those, we have note pages. This one is a unique dot grid in that there's like squares where they're missing dots. This is probably really hard to see, so let me lift this up, see if you can see it better. I hope you can. I'm gonna try to keep this nice and still. Maybe zoom it in a bit. It is a very faint dot grid there, and although I like the idea of this, for me, I want that dot in the middle and I want it to be a traditional dot grid, so I'm not sure why they have such a unique one. This is a lined note page, so again, very faint lines here that you can kind of see. Hopefully you can see it on video, hopefully it catches that. I love this, and actually when I was testing and playing with this, I used this more than anything. I took a lot of notes and snapped a photo on my phone and uploaded it, so that was really cool as well. And then finally, there's just a blank sketchbook style page, and you get to the end of the book. It is a tiny book. I mean, it's really skinny, really thin. I like that, I guess. The cover is a really thick plastic. It really reminds me of like one of those 5-star Mead notebooks, like a one subject notebook. It's very thin like that. It's very easy to carry. It doesn't have a metal coil though. It's got a thick, durable plastic coil, which I actually think would be much easier to take care of. But overall, I really like this. As I mentioned before, I do think that this is more of a planner for a professional business person. I can use this for homeschooling, but probably not. I can use this for my personal and goal setting, but I probably won't. I don't think there's enough room on the weekly spreads for me personally when I want to do a weekly overview, because I am a parent and we do have a lot of activities on the weekends. Especially with sports coming up, and even without COVID being an issue, we do have activities that go on the weekend and appointments that are on the weekend, and so I need that Saturday and Sunday. I think there's too much space on the daily, to be honest. It's a full 8.5 by 11 size page here. I don't need this much space. I don't need to write down my morning, I don't need to do a morning routine in my planner every week, and I don't have the time typically in the evening to sit down and write my daily wins. I usually will check that out in the morning, or if I have time in the evening, I'm writing down my tasks, what I need to get done the next day. So for me, that's a bit much. I think this is probably particularly good, again, for somebody who works in an office or even working from home, where you sit down to start your day for work, a work morning routine and a work end of day routine. For me, this is much more in line with that. But other than that, I really do think, I think the quality is beautiful. I think I'm gonna show you the erasable feature. That is really neat. I love that. My 9-year-old absolutely adores this and has actually come up with the idea for destinations. He wants to get a smaller notebook of Rocketbook, so we will be picking up a smaller Rocketbook for him at a later date. For now, he can use the note pages in here, but having it set up so that if he snaps the destination of his choice, which I think he picked the diamond or the apple, I can't recall which one, snapping a picture of that and it'll send straight to his therapist. So if he's got a note for her or a thought for her, it sends right to her. So on that note, let's talk about how these destinations and the app that goes with this work. Okay, so the first thing you need to do for this to work is mark your destination, which you can see I did at the bottom using the Rocketbook app like logo there. Then you open the actual app on your phone. Now I've already set up my app and tested it, but you will have to create an account. Once you do that, then you just hit the plus button at the bottom, which is new scan. You just make sure it's nice and even. It'll scan it, process it. You tap the scan in there, and then it previews both of them. I have 2 scans because I was trying to do this and I messed up. So preview, and then I think that's all you have to do and it's done. Oh, there you go. You hit next. There we go. Transcribing. I always forget that part. You hit the next button. It'll transcribe everything you have here. And then you hit send when you're complete and it sends it to your destination, which for me is my email. I think it's really neat how this works. And I love that it actually transcribes all of this. So once that's done, you can clearly see everything here is now on my phone, which is a really, really neat feature. And it seems to have saved these in 2 pages. So that's pretty neat as well. You can change the title of things as well if you want to. So I'm gonna title this review video, and I'm gonna save it. Oops. And then that's it. It should have sent to my email based on how I have this set up. Okay, so once I check my email, you can see there's 2 pages of PDF in here that show exactly what my daily spread works out to be. So what's really cool about this is that when it scans this particular layout, it gives you everything. It gives you the morning routine, evening routine, schedule, priorities, the whole photo here without the bottom, so that piece is cut off. And it has it written down. So, and it's in a PDF as well. So you get this PDF file of your schedule for the week emailed to you. So you fill it all out, you take a picture, you're done, you can erase it and you can do another day, and that's it. So let me show you how to erase this. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get half of, not the whole thing, half of your insert here damp. I do not have a spritz bottle. I think you can use a mister bottle on this, like spray and then wipe. I don't have one that's not filled with rubbing alcohol. You just need water. So I actually popped into my bathroom, did a quick spritz of water on here, squeezed it as tight as I could. So now it's pretty damp. And then you just wipe. And it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It comes right off. You're not gonna ruin it by getting the paper wet, which is also great. I'm doing this in real time with you, so I'm not fast forwarding like I do on my Plan With Me videos. And there we go, it's all cleaned off. I'm a little OCD, I like it to be like perfectly clean. Once you're done doing that, you take the dry side and do a quick wipe as well. Make sure there's no remaining water. And I'm sorry if my camera shakes when I'm doing this. I'm trying to make sure it's like super dry. And then you're good to go. So this is probably the 5th or 6th time that I've written on this page, and you can't see any residue of previous writing. I love how easily and cleanly this erases. I mean, it dries off really fast, particularly if you use the other side to wipe it down. When I first did this, I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to wet the whole rag because I didn't read the instructions clearly. And I'm gonna blame ADHD on that one too. I was just really excited to test it all out. But I didn't wipe down I didn't have a dry side to this. I wiped it down with a very lightly damp, almost barely wet side. And when I did that, it still came out beautifully dry very quickly. And it's very easy to go ahead and start marking in here again. So I'm gonna show you a couple things as far as pen testing goes. You can only use the friction pens in here, and they're very clear about that. It's written pretty much on all of their devices and on the packaging. So if you are getting one of these, if you choose to get one, I will link this in the description below. Please remember, only a friction pen. This is the friction highlighter. It's like a pastel marker. It does write. It will smudge, so fair warning on that. They will all smudge. Everything will smudge. So please, please, please just be very mindful of that when you're planning, because I know a lot of us, particularly left-handers, get really particular about smudging. It will smudge. As you can see, I wiped that, I dried it, and now I'm gonna write again. So this is the friction erasable that came with it. It's a 07 pen. They do take a minute or two to really start writing. I'm just gonna go ahead and write. Once the pen starts moving, and I'm guessing it's because of how smooth this paper is, once it starts moving, it writes beautifully, but it does take a second. Do not mark over the pen. It will start to erase it. You can mark under it, and I'm gonna leave this one and let it sit. It does need to dry. So they did send a different variety of friction pen. I don't know the difference between the two varieties, to be honest with you. I don't have many friction pens at all. I have one variety, and I'll show you how that one writes here in just a minute. But this is a 07 in red. They have a variety of different colors they sent me. Again, I don't use any of them. This one is a friction ball slim that I was gifted for my birthday in 2019. It's 038 and it's green. And well, it's a variety of green. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I hate these in this planner. I actually prefer the larger weight pens in this planner. Now let me see if this is dry. See, this still hasn't dried enough for me to write on top of it. You can see it's kind of smudging as I move my finger over it. So again, if you're gonna write on top of a marker or highlighter, you need to let it sit for a long time. But overall, like I said, and you guys watch me write all of these, you're gonna watch me quickly erase all of these, dry these, and it's good for me to write on again. The reusability of this, phenomenal. I think that's really cool. The layout and style of this, not for me particularly, but the concept behind it is really neat. And like I said, we are going to be using the notebook pages in particular, and we're going to be using this actually for my son's therapy so that he can easily write and share anything he wants to with his therapist without mommy having to see it. Now, for those of you wondering, yes, it does go through my email, and yes, I have the ability to monitor this in any way that works best for me. His therapist is very good about making sure that there are no hidden secrets as well, but it's his way as a minor of having that level of privacy and confidence that he can share with her without being embarrassed or concerned about what mommy might think. And I think if you're a parent, you probably understand that as well. So we will be letting him use this, like the notebook pages here, to do exactly that. I really do like this though. Again, this does not work layout wise for me. However, the concept of the Rocketbook, the really neat layout and setting of the Panda Planner here, I can really see this working for a few different groups of people. Primarily, if you are a professional in a business, this looks phenomenal. I love that you can digitize this. I think that's great. If you use a system such as GoodNotes in your iPad and you have an Apple Pencil, then especially if you're going to be on the go and you can't really bring a whole lot of things with you, taking your pictures of this, adding those PDFs to GoodNotes so that you can adjust it later if you need to, you can definitely do something like that. If you're a homeschool parent, you've just got the one kid, or you've got virtual school, this works for virtual schooling as well. Now, I do not have virtual schooling, so I know there's so many different varieties of how that goes. But if you've got virtual school for multiple kids, you can easily mark each kid's meetings really easily using these friction highlighters. You can space them out in case you wanted to put some notes like that, or if you want to keep them, just color code it and kind of keep them together with who's doing what. So you have hourly blocks, you can do that as well. And then I could do something, let's see, Lily from 7 to 9, and I can say 6 to 9, Jake. Maybe this is math, maybe this is reading. I don't know, again, how everybody's virtual schedules are working. We don't do many virtual classes, but you can easily do something like this and mark it up. And then again, you can make a digital copy of this. If you have older children and you're doing the schedule and they're gonna have to be working simultaneously, you can take a PDF shot of this, send it to your child, or send it to all your children if you've got old enough children, and they know what the daily schedule is for that week as well. You can do the priorities, tasks, notes, all of that for each child. And let's say that my kids were in high school and I did this and I wanted to have their schedules laid out so that they both knew what was going on for the other one and they knew that they'd have to overlap. I could easily write in priorities for my son, snap a picture with, let's say I had the apple for him for the destination. I could snap that picture, it would send it directly to him. I could erase the apple, erase the priorities, fill it out for my daughter, maybe mark the diamond for her, snap a picture, and it goes to her. So really neat, unique ways that you can use this. Really, really, really easy to clean and reuse and clean and reuse. You guys have watched me do it numerous times already. Again, I actually really highly recommend this. I think this is a phenomenal planner. I think that if you feel that this layout and style would work for you, the cool features that come with it are really, I mean, really phenomenal. Highly recommend it. Great quality. Not my particular layout, but really still an amazingly cool planner. I hope you like this planner walkthrough and review of the Rocketbook Panda Planner. If you do, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're interested in purchasing one, I do have links to this one and the ones that we're going to be picking up for my son in the description below. If you'd like to see more planner walkthrough and reviews, I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to tap that bell that turns on notifications so you're always alerted when a new video comes out. And as always, for behind the scenes sneak peeks on what I'm working on right now, head on over to my Instagram @LauraPlansIt. Thanks so much for watching.